Okay, the lighting is not the best here, but thanks for getting on, guys. It is our Tuesday night call, and I am really excited to talk about tonight. We have a lot of new teammates on the team, and even if you are a seasoned veteran, this is something that we can always improve on. And I think building confidence with overcoming objections is going to be huge for you in turning conversations into actual sales, which end up growing your team and getting people results, which is ultimately why we're here, right? So that is the topic for tonight. It's overcoming objections. I don't want to spend a ton of time like on announcements and things. I just wanted to kind of dive right in to the call tonight. I want you to think of inviting as interviewing someone. So when you think of an interview, I'm pretty sure we've all experienced them once, more than once, multiple times in our lives. And basically when we're in an interview, we're being asked questions, right? Like we expect to be asked questions and we willingly answer them. So when you are prospecting, so to speak, and you're inviting to your challenge groups and you're starting conversations, you want to think of it as, an interview where you're asking tons of questions. And that should be your focus. You really need to develop a rapport with that person, whether they're in your warm market or your cold market. The ultimate decision maker for whether they are going to join you on this journey, all objections aside, is whether or not they trust you. Okay? So trust is the number one thing here. The more you have established trust with them, they are more likely going to join you, and they're going to trust that you can help them achieve their goals. So how do you build that trust? Well, a lot of the trust is going to come from you showing up consistently every single day on social media, that they know that you don't just say you help people, they actually see proof of transformations on your page of people that you've helped. They see you showing up every single day, doing your workout, eating well, and being a product of the product. That is huge. If you're not doing that currently, when you try to invite someone to join you, it's hard for them to believe that you're doing that when they don't see proof of it every single day. So that isn't really overcoming an objection, but if you get good at doing that more consistently, you will get less objections because they are going to already know that you are living proof that these products work. And if you can do it, they can do it. So that was just like my intro here, is that if you're somebody that's getting tons and tons of objections, it's time to self-reflect and say, am I showing up every day? Am I proving that these products work without having to sell anyone anything? If you're good at that, when you start inviting people, the objections are going to go down and down and down because you have overcome so many of them already. That being said, that's another way you can overcome objections. So let's say you're on an inviting spree and you're getting the same objections over and over again. What better way to combat those objections than to make a post about those objections? In other words, if people keep telling you that Shakeology is too expensive, then make a post about it. Don't say, I keep getting these messages and people think Shakeology is too expensive, but put it on yourself. Say, listen, I've been drinking this shake for blank amount of time. And, in the beginning, I struggled because I couldn't see the value in it and I didn't know if it was worth the price that it had. However, what I found is blah, 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 and give them reasons on why Shakeology isn't expensive. Show them what you found. Show them your experiences with it and how it's made all the difference in your results. And then if that's what they're thinking and they're going to bring that to the table, you've already combated that objection and they know not to tell you that Shakeology is too expensive because they already know how you feel about it. So use your objections in your posts. If you're getting it often, that's more than likely, many people are thinking it. So you can just go ahead and overcome that. The method that I find most success with is that feel, felt, found method. So the 3 F's: feel, felt, found. You simply tell people when they give you an objection, you tell them, I understand how you feel. I felt the same way. Here's what I found. So all of a sudden, you are relating to them. You're not looking at them and saying, like, are you kidding me? You think Shakeology is too expensive? Like, what's wrong with you? No, you're telling them that you had that same feeling as well. And here's what you felt, and here's what you found. So use that many times. So the very first thing when you get an objection is automatically go to the feel, felt, found thinking, and walk them through that. So when you start your inviting process, I need you to understand that, like, you can't expect to close a sale in one night necessarily. Does it happen? Absolutely. Can you make it happen at the end of the month? For sure. But likely you won't. Even at the end of the month when you're pushing for Success Club and you haven't hit it yet, your biggest chance of success is not going to be with a cold invite. It's going to be with a follow-up of someone that you've been talking to. So do not rush the sales process. Some people you can close in a few messages. Other people are going to take a few days, some a few weeks. Some you'll invite now and they won't come back for months or a year. But you can't rush that process. So you can't be so caught up in reaching your goal that you try to rush them through the conversation. You'll know if they're there and if they're ready based on the questions that you ask them. So you have to balance, when you're having conversations, I want you to remember to balance inquiry, which is the question asking, with advocacy, which is offering them value. So in the conversations, you not only want to inquire, ask them questions about their current habits and things like that. I'm going to give you some samples, but you want to also balance that conversation with small talk, with educating them on, what you've learned so far by converting to this lifestyle, giving them advice on how to overcome, concerns with spending too much on healthy food, those types of things. Make sure your conversation is balanced between asking questions and providing value to them. If so, you should be able to overcome any objections. So the biggest thing we have to do is ask questions. So there's this book, it's called Questions Are the Answers, and it's so true. Again, self-reflect. Am I getting tons of objections? And if so, am I asking tons of questions? More than likely, there's going to be sort of an obvious correlation there. You're probably not asking enough questions. So there's different kinds of questions that you can ask people. You can ask them basic, super simple questions, like building that rapport with them. And this is going to depend on how well you know them to begin with. But, don't make them feel like you're just messaging them to get a sale. It's more important to develop the rapport with them, meaning ask them, how was your weekend? How's your kid feeling? I saw that they were sick. How, like something super deep that should really help them open up to you is just like ask them, what is your story? Tell me about you. And they can go on. Everybody can talk about themselves, so they can tell you about themselves. Another sort of focused type of question that you can ask your prospects is like aspiration focused questions. These are everything. You want to ask them, like, what would you like to achieve in the next 30 days, in the next 6 months, in the next year? Where do you actually see yourself in a year? And that's going to make them dig deep and say, like, if I don't join her, I'm going to be in this exact same place or worse 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. And so they have to really think to answer that question. And then you can focus in on the impact of the decision to join you by asking them. So if you could, whatever they told you is their goal, if you could lose the 50 pounds you want to lose, if you could get off your cholesterol meds, if you could actually be able to play with your kids without feeling tired, what would that mean to you? So really dig into their why. If you don't know their why, not only do you need it to make the initial, to get them to join initially, you need to know their why to keep them motivated when life happens down the road, because we know it happens to everyone. You got to be able to pull that back out and throw that in front of them and say, like, hey, Susie, you told me you wanted to lose 50 pounds. And if you did, this is what it would mean to you. So I know that you're struggling, but, and then get them back on board. You have to have that in your ammo for later use. And then you need to really paint the picture of what life will be like if they join you. So ask them, like, what would success look like if you and I worked together for the next 6 months? Like, what would that look like to you? How would you say, okay, I've been successful? And then ask them this: if time and money and effort and motivation or lack thereof were not an issue at all, what would you want to achieve? Where would you be? And then why? So let them start to see, okay, I have all these excuses, because that's all they are, really. Objections are just excuses that they're telling themselves. If I were to overcome every single one of my excuses, here's what my life could look like, and help them paint that picture. Okay, so that's going to be really important. I want to share, let me see if I can do this. I want to share a link with you in the chat box, so pay attention to that for a second. I want you guys to open this and look at it with me. I think all this stuff I'm telling you is great, but you have to be able to apply it. And sometimes you need specific examples. So that's what I'm going to provide you right now. Typing it in. It's longer than I thought it was. Almost done. Okay, let's see if it works. Let me know if you can access that link. It should be invite and objection scripts. And in there, I literally just am gonna show you objections that you're probably hearing, and then how to overcome them with the script. But before I go any further, it's extremely important that you don't take this script or these scripts and copy and paste them into your conversations. Okay? You have to adjust them to your verbatim. Like you don't talk the same way I talk. You don't have the same idiosyncrasies in your conversations that I do. Like I might say, hey girl, and you might never say, hey girl. So people are going to see right through that if you copy and paste these. Please don't do that. But let them act as a guide. So number one is I don't have time. If you're hearing that, take these two options, or several that I have here, 3 options on how to overcome that objection, and reword them in your own words. Okay, so someone tells you they don't have time, tell them that feel, felt, found. I totally know what you mean. I'm a mom of 4. I feel the same way. When I first started, I was working blank amount of jobs. I was blah, blah, blah. And I would leave the house at 4 a.m. and not get back till 10 p.m. And I could not understand how I could add one more thing to my plate, let alone make time to work out every day. But I had to work it. So I stopped sitting down to watch the TV show that I love, and I sacrificed that. And funnily enough, I cut down time at my first job, and that ended up giving me more time. So it was just a sample way to overcome that. But again, it's just using the feel, felt, found method. If someone is giving you an objection that they can't coach because they don't have time, tell them. We can teach you how to be successful in as little as an hour a day, and to work in the pockets of time that you have available. Give them samples of coaches you know that make it work, and tell them that the workouts are designed for busy people. You don't have to spend an hour in a gym plus driving to and from the gym and finding a babysitter. Like, we can help you with that. So that's an example. The second objection is, do I have to get Shakeology? How many of us get this? I know I still get it almost daily. So tell them that in order for them to be successful, you are not being a good coach if you don't set them up from the start gate with success, and that is the entire package. Make them realize that you're using it, you've seen success with it, and you feel that in order for them to have the most concerted effort at success, they should be using it as well. Then tell them that it gives the best results, or it's the best deal, it's the best bang for their buck. And even if they are breastfeeding or pregnant, they can check with their doctor and still use it. If they don't have money, which we hear constantly, right, you can break down the cost and help them see the value in it, help them see how they are going to save money on their regular grocery bill. If they just say they don't have the money right now, you can tell them you felt the same way. You can give them your story, but explaining to them ways. You can even ask them to look at their budget and help them find places that they could cut to make this available to them. Make sure you tell them about the 30-day money-back guarantee. And a lot of people think it's an upfront huge cost, but they're actually getting 30 meals in that price. And they can't see that until you break it down for them. So I hope what you're starting to see here, and we don't have to go through all these, is that your reaction to their objection is going to decide whether they join you or not. So before you even sit down to start inviting or replying to messages, you have to remind yourself the value of what we offer. What makes Beachbody different than everything else out there? Make sure you are confident in that. You're on this team for a reason. You want to help other people. You have decided this works for you. Be proud of what we have. And if you are proud of that, and that comes through in your posts and your messages and your voice, because I suggest using the voice memo feature when you're talking to people, if they can hear the passion and the belief in you that you think they can be successful, game over. The objections are going to go out the window, and they're going to say, okay, let's do this. So you may be getting tons of objections because you're not being a product of the product, or because you don't have 100% confidence when you're inviting or replying to messages. That belief isn't there. Go ahead.
Before it leaves me, because once a fiery passion comes on me. So this is something that I can truly help you guys see the positive spin on objections and run face first towards them, okay? You're going to run to the fire, to the objections, and I'm going to tell you why. You ready for me to blow your mind? Okay. They're giving you the exact reason of why they can't do what you're offering. They're telling you, they're basically saying to you, hey, I like what you're offering, but this is why I can't do it. So you are now on your first mission as their coach to help them flip their mindset, to help them see. So as their coach, aids in personal development, you know what? I have solutions. I've known things that have worked for X, Y, and Z person. Or, oh, there's that girl on my team. She has this story about how she gave up smoking cigarettes in order to be able to afford her opportunity. So what you need to do in those situations is attack it with the mindset that this is your first mission as a coach. You're on a mission to help flip their mindset. And you can simply do that by just sharing your story. If you don't want to be if it feels awkward to you to say to them, hey, I think you should look at your budget. If that feels awkward to you, you could say, share a piece of your story and your journey in which you were in a financially strained situation and how you got out of it and how the opportunity helped you get out of it and how, gosh, you would just love to be able for them to have that. So your whole goal in the beginning when you're talking to them is to help them see. You have to see the positive for them because they're coming to you in a negative state. They're coming to you in a state of mind feeling so desperate and trapped and needing a solution. So they can't even see that what they perceive and see and hear is completely what our positive mind knows. So as their coach, we have that gift to be able to help them see the positive in what, even in their negative objection. When they hit you with a negative objection, always give them back in love and say, gosh, I totally sympathize with your situation. I've heard of that in my team with X, Y, and Z person. Shh. And just share a story with them. And that will fuse a deeper connection with them so much more. And you won't have to be like that awkward creep where you're like, I want you to look at your budget. Emma, shh. Shh. I'll help you in a minute, okay? Just wait. Real life parenting here. This is how you coach, okay? You just wing it and do it, and people appreciate you for it. So, but the thing is when people give you that objection, I know for a while, I used to, Kyle, come on, can you guys go upstairs? Please. Now you're being rude. I have no problem telling my kids I need. Goodbye. It's Billy's late night. So when they give you that objection, for a long time, I know I used to take the objections, and even now still, before this call, I was totally butthurt. I'm butthurt, being depressed. I was almost in tears. I'm so frustrated because I'm talking. I'm talking to so many people. And you start to feel like you're spinning your wheels and the fears start to set in. And when those fears start to set in and the objections start to roll in, those objections start to feel like your mind is already starting to shut down. But the biggest piece that I want to leave you with before I let Alicia take over with this is that view that objection as a chance to show them how you can make their world more positive, how you can help them see a solution, even with the objection that they're giving you, and leverage stories within your own team, and if you don't know who has a story, go into the big dream team page or even our page and just say, hey, does anybody have a story about, where when they started their journey, they had X, Y, and Z and couldn't start? Or do you have a customer that had this objection? You can come in and ask for that, advice and support on that objection, or ask, does anybody have a story? And then leverage that story and that solution that went with that story and offer that as a solution to their objection. And even if they still tell you no, I guarantee you they're going to come back to you as long as you keep loving them. Don't write them off and don't say, I'm done with you, screw you. Just keep loving them, keep loving on their posts and being genuine because you care about them as a person no matter what they say. And they need to know and feel that. Okay, I'm done. Off my soapbox.
That was good. It was awesome. It's so true. So, I think my biggest, want to leave you with notion is that Melanie Mitro, the top coach in Beachbody for 4 years, to this day still gets objections. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. And like Andrea said, it's not you, it's them. they're afraid. They're not getting the benefit of a challenge group every day. They're not getting the benefit of personal development pouring into their life. So they're in a bad place, and all you are doing is offering them hope. Does everyone take that hope? No. But you love them where they're at through that, and eventually they do come back. So I've been around long enough to see, like, some people, my conversations with them started in 2015 and they don't reappear until 2018. But they've seen me showing up every single day for the last 3-4 years, so they know that, okay, now that I'm ready, I want you to help me. And they relate with me in some way. So that's why our posts are going to be our leverage to relate to them. And if you're really good at taking the pressure off, like, don't look at them as a sales number. Don't look at them as a success club point. Look at them as how you can help them and how you can, change their life, literally just the way that ours has been changed. The pressure is gone. And if you're getting lots of objections, I actually think that's great, because that means you're having conversations. You are communicating with people. You're not just sitting back and waiting for people to come to you. You're reaching out and you're offering the opportunity. It's like offering coffee after a meal. If the waitress comes up and asks you if you want coffee, you don't get, like, offended, right? It's a yes or no question. You're offering this opportunity. Don't get offended if they don't join you right now, because they will later. They just might not be ready yet. And you don't want them to spend the money on something that they're not ready for. Let's be honest. If they do, then that ends up making them have, like, a bad taste in their mouth if they felt pressured or, made a decision to join you before they were actually ready, because they feel like, well, I just wasted that money. And sometimes people return, but sometimes they don't. And so that just gives them, well, Beachbody doesn't work. It's not that Beachbody doesn't work. It's that you didn't work it, And here's, like, the last thing. If at the end of the day, they are just not going to commit to Shakeology, no matter what you do, no matter how much you tell them it's amazing, they just want to order Beachbody on demand. Okay, this is your decision as a coach. Everybody can make this decision for themselves. I personally, if I've done everything I can to show them the value of Shakeology and they're still not on board, I will allow them to purchase Beachbody on demand, whatever, get them into 30, 60, 9, a year-long program, and I will plug them into my community. And here's what I know. I know that they're going to hear people talking about their shakes every single day. They're going to continue to see not just me, but everybody else feeling the benefits. They're going to run out of ideas for their red containers, and they're going to wish that they had Shakeology that they could put on their meal plan. And guess what? Maybe not right away, but they're going to order it. So if you get down to the nitty-gritty with someone and they're just not budging, don't be afraid to allow them, like, a compromise, so to speak. So don't say, up front, as soon as they tell you I can't afford it, just be like, okay, well, you can just buy the Beachbody on demand. No. Continue to ask questions and continue to overcome it. But if it's not happening, then, offer them the compromise and get them plugged into the community, because we all know that that's the missing piece for everyone. They can work out and they can learn how to eat right on the internet, but they don't have the support and accountability and the daily motivation that we offer them as a coach. And that's what's going to make all the difference. So there's a really good book I would offer you if you still feel like this is a giant struggle for you to overcome. It's by Brian Tracy. I'll type it in here. And it's called The Art of Closing the Sale. Now, we are not salespeople, but this book really highlights how to develop trust in the relationship with your prospects so that you ultimately close the sale. So that is kind of just a good option for you if you need some PD on this topic. And there's hundreds of YouTube videos on how to overcome objections. The info's out there. It's just a matter of you applying it. So hopefully with that script that I gave you and, a little bit of talking about it, you feel more comfortable. I kind of look at objections as a personal challenge, like Andrea said, and I'm like, I'm going to overcome this challenge. Or like today when somebody responded to a poll on my Instagram story and she said, I'm in. So I messaged her and I'm like, hey, I saw you were excited about joining my boot camp. And she was like, oh my gosh, my kid had my phone and he must have pressed that I'm so sorry. And I'm like, you know what, Jared, I'm turning this into a sale. Like, I'm going to dig in with her and I'm going to start to build this relationship. And I'm, determined to make her one of my customers. So just embrace the challenges and make sure that you have confidence in how to overcome them. And I think with all these tools and resources at your disposal, like, you definitely can overcome them. So does anyone have any questions? I'll allow you to ask some questions the last few minutes if you have any, or some objections you're getting that maybe you don't know how to overcome. Or is it just a matter of setting the stage in the conversation before the invite so that you're less likely to get them? If you know someone's story, if they're struggling with money, if they are struggling to make healthy choices, if they're a super busy person and they work ungodly hours. So you can just shoot those objections down from the get-go, usually, if you get to know them.
Alicia.
Yeah, go ahead.
I had one question actually for you or Mary, because I know you both are pretty fluent with hitting Success Club. Rockstar over here, Success Club 10, legend. So I have a question. Let's say, when you're hitting Success Club, are you waiting for the people to message you on your posts? Or the people that like your posts, let's say you put one of the action posts, a call to action posts, or a jab post. What do you do with those likes? Do you message those people? Or the people that are joining with you, are those people coming from the people that just reached out and messaged you, per se, as far as you didn't have to reach out to them?
I would say anybody that likes a coaching opportunity post or a challenge group invite post, unless they're on my team already, I'm going to send them a message and thank them for the love on my page, and develop the conversation that way, to where are you currently on your fitness journey or something like that, because maybe that's why they're liking it, because they can relate. But it just starts the conversation. So absolutely, there are certain months where I will get people coming to me out the wazoo, and there are other months August is a really tough month for me, where I'm not getting anybody beating down my door to join my challenge group. Or December sometimes is really hard. So I will have nobody coming, and in that case, I'm increasing my invites tenfold those months. But either way, I'm always offering up the opportunity, but I can't sit back and wait for people to come, or else I end up, when I do that, I end up really flustering at the last moment. So the more proactive you can be with your invites and just starting conversations, they're not even invites necessarily, the more people in the pipeline you have, the more success you're going to have with the likelihood of reaching Success Club. And keep in mind that the more you're sharing your results, and I know for me, and I don't know about Mary Carolyn, but for me, if I am on my A game in my nutrition and I'm killing it in my workouts and I'm showing the other people killing it in my group, I get way more people coming to me than if I'm not on my A game. So again, self-reflect. Am I showing up? Am I showing them that these products work? Because when I am, I have more people beating down the door than the months where I slack, so to speak.
Right.
So that's always a good way to get more people coming to you.
Okay, that was my roadblock that I feel and the other thing that I'm noticing, I think because I'm trying to push for diamond, and I'm such an on personality, I have to do this type thing, that I'm talking and talking and talking and talking and talking to so many people that I'm finding myself getting do you get people exhausted talking over and over? How do you prevent that exhaustion from taking over?
I'll speak on that, because I am an introvert. I'm outgoing, but I need my time. I have to have one day where I maybe I'll post in the morning or I'll post at night, but I unplug from my messages because I will like have a mental breakdown. Like if I don't, like I really do. And you know, I don't know, coaching is a big part of our lives, but it's not our entire lives. So I unplug when I have to unplug. Don't let it drive you crazy.
Okay, that helps. I think
because the other thing is like I can feel my conversations not being very good when I don't want to talk to people. Like just like with my husband, if I'm not in the mood, like it sounds rude, he can hear me, but like when I'm not in the mood to like talk to him, with you know, I mean sometimes you just want to be quiet.
right.
People can sense that. So if I'm not that I go weeks, you know, without answering my messages or even days without answering my messages, but I'd rather talk to people when I'm like feeling good and on my A game, you know?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm noticing now is because I'm starting to notice the burnout set in for myself because I'm cranking. I'm just not letting myself rest per se. And now what's happening is like, I don't know, I'm just like, I'm feeling exhausted. I'm like, somebody has to have some like direction here, but I guess it's like a time management thing. I'm just going to have to figure out like where to power myself down at where I'm getting that like alone time because I feel like I'm filling the only little bit of time that I have with me trying to, you know, push for this goal and, you know, try to make ends meet. But I know that's part of this hustle and why it's hard, but then why it's so rewarding at the end. And then you got coaches making you cry and send you progress. And so I know it's all worth it. It's just, that was why I was in my little funk before the call.
It's totally normal. And I think trying to just keep your eye on the realizing that's just for a season and this is like temporary, it will really help you get through it. And, you know, just loving on people, but realizing that we have to fill our own cup first. So don't let yourself get burnt out in terms of recognizing when you need a break. So that's definitely huge. I hope this helped you guys. And if you have questions, you can post them. I'll put the recording up and I'll put the link to this scripts. Okay? Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.